Welcome all to the hands-on session on tuples data structure in Python programming. This is the continuation of the theory session on tuples. Now we will proceed with the experiential learning on the tuple data structure in IDLE. We will go with the compiler. The compiler is going to be IDLE, which we actually use for all other practical sessions, right? So now I will open my IDLE compiler so that we can start our practical session soon. Yes, my compiler is ready. Now, when I go into tuples exercises, first the main requirement is I need to know how to create tuples in Python. Just I'll create a tuple. Tuple 1 is equal to some tuples, and by the definition of tuple, I know that tuple is actually a sequence of data items of any data type separated by commas and enclosed within round brackets or parentheses. This is actually my parenthesis. Now this is an empty list. I will fill it out with some random sequence of elements separated by commas. So one an integer. Next I will write something like king. Next I'll write Python. I'll go with 5, and I can do like anything 5.1. So I'm having a string here, an integer, a floating point number, everything separated by commas, right? So this is big. This becomes my tuple. I just print it out. I got it enclosed by round brackets. If you remember, in our previous videos, we have seen list, which is actually also a sequence of elements separated by commas. It can also have data items of any data type, and they are enclosed in square brackets. Here it is round brackets. The main difference between list and tuples is list are mutable and tuples are unchangeable or immutable. You cannot change the elements or update the elements of a tuple, right? Before going, some Python practitioners will pronounce tuple as tuple also. So you can get practiced accordingly with your accent. We will go with the accent or pronunciation as tuples. Okay. Now we need to understand how to access elements in tuples. So the accessing is very simple. I just say with the tuple name and the index. So what is index? The position of the element, which will always start from 0. This is 0th index, this is first index, this is second, Python is second index, and 5.1 is third index. So if I say tuple 1 of 2, it actually means the element in the second index. That is, my 1 goes with 0th index, king will come in the first index, Python will be in second index, and in the third index I have 5.1, right? So if I say tuple 1 of 2, it actually refers to Python, right? So I actually refer to Python. Similarly, if I refer tuple 1 of 3, I go with 5.1. That is a third index element. This is how you access. And you can also go with range based accesses. For example, if I say tuple 1 of 1 colon 3, right? The accesses are exactly same as your list elements. So if I say tuple 1 of 1 colon 3, I get all the elements starting from index 1 and up to n minus 1 index, 3 minus 1, 2. Up from 1 to 2, I'll get everything. So my result will be king Python. So yes, the result is king Python. The same syntax and semantics with respect to list. The same thing will work here. I can also do negative indexing. Yes, I say minus 1. Yes, you can easily predict what is minus 1. My minus 1 is the reverse, and the first element from the reverse, that is 5.1, right? So this is my then negative index 1, that is minus 1 in the tuple. And if I say minus 4, what I will get? I'll get the minus 4th elements, that is 5.1 is minus 1, Python is minus 2, king is minus 3, and 1 is in the minus fourth position. So I'll get 1 as the result. Right? This is how you do negative accessing in tuples. Next, whether can I use the same Lenov method in tuples also similar to a list? Yes, you are actually given full permission to do it. The same function exists here also, which says number of elements present in the tuple. Yes, you can do it. Can I use the plus operation we used in the list to do grouping things? I'll get, yes, we will try that also. I say tuple 2 is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3, and I create the tuple. Now I say tuple 3 is equal to tuple 1 plus tuple 2. Now what will actually happen? The new tuple 3 got created. Tuple 3 got created with the elements of tuple 1 and the tuple 2. See here, I get 1 king python 5.1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 3. So we know that when you use plus operation for grouping the elements, the source tuples, so the source data structure will not be changed. Tuple 1 value will be the same, and tuple 2 value will also be the same. That is before what value is existing, the same value will be existing now. See, tuple 1 is the same, 1 king python 5.1, and tuple 2 is also 1 2 3. Only the tuple 3 got updated, that is newly created tuple. The next most important thing to understand in tuple is the update methods. You have a insert method, you have append method, you have extend method, you have pop method. Many updation methods are actually present in list. Why? Because we say list are mutable. Mutable in the sense I can modify their elements at any instant of time. But when you go with tuple, they are actually unchanged or fixed. Once you initialize a tuple, you are not supposed to change their elements anymore. So that is with respect to tuples. So you're actually making the storage efficient by avoiding unwanted access to their data structure. If you are making the elements unchangeable, then not much processing will take place unnecessarily, so that your storage will become efficient, right? That is what the main aim of tuples. If you don't access the element, if you don't modify the elements for a large amount of time, then you can go with tuples, right? So this is with respect to tuple. I have len method, and I don't have append method, I don't have extend method, I don't have insert, pop, remove. Any element is not actually present in my tuple. I don't have any such methods, but I have some other methods also. Don't say that no methods are actually available for tuples. I don't say that. I have some methods. Those will not create any updation in my tuple actually. Those will not have any updations in my tuples. So len will give you the number of elements. And if you say plus, it will create a new tuple, right? I can also create some methods, right? What are the methods are available in tuple are available in list also, but the vice versa is not correct. I can say an method called count, which is available in tuple. Now we will see how the count method is going to work in tuple. For example, I have a tuple, say tuple 3 is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 2 comma 2 comma 5. I have like this. So I stratifying I put more number of twos here. So I need to count how many twos are there here. So tube 3 dot count of 2. Very easy to understand here, right? What I'm doing now. Tube 3 dot count of 2. So what will actually happen? This will count the number of times 2, the element 2 is present in my tuple 3. That is, it is present 3 times. Yes, it is giving me the count. Very good, right? And I can have this, the same method is also present in list also. I can also find the index of the element. If I say index of 2, what is the index of 2? Now there will be a problem. Why? Because if you see here, In the index, I have, this is 0th index, this is first index, this is second, third, fourth, and fifth. Now I'm asking, what is the index of the element 2? Now, to my surprise, I'm having 3 different indexes for 2. That is, 2 is present in index 1 also, index 3 also, index 4 also. The compiler got surprised. What to do? It is actually very simple. If the element 2 is present many times, the first instance of the element will alone get printed, right? So what is actually the first instance of 2? Index 1. So I'll get the index 1. If it is present in any other index, that is actually missed out. Why? Because first time when I encounter 2, that is actually the case, and I was actually interested in that alone, right? This is with respect to index method of tuple. Right now you are clear with how the index method works in tuple. The ultimate thing what you need to understand here is you will not have any updation methods in tuple. If you need to update any things in tuple, you first need to convert it into a list. We know that any data structure can be converted into any other data structure just by calling that data structure. If I say list 1 is equal to list 1 of tuple 3. Now what will happen? My tuple 3 is called by the method list. I'm calling a function list of tuple 3. Now list 1 will get created with the elements of tuple 3, and I got a list 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 2 comma 2 comma 5. So what actually the case here is, I have converted my tuple into a list. Now what I will do is I will say list 1 of 3 is equal to 10. What is list 1 of 3? List 1 of 3 is 2. List 1 of 3 is 2. I'm changing it to 10 now. I'm changing it to 10. So what will happen here? I'll get an updation, and if you say list 1 now, it become 10, right? That position now become 10, right? Now what I will do is I will convert this list back into a tuple. How to create? If I need to create a list, I just called list of. Now I need to create a tuple. What I will do, I will just say tuple 3 with the same name. I'll create list. Now this time I need a tuple, so I say tuple of list 1. Now see the magic, tuple 3 got created and the elements got updated. But this is actually a big process, converting into a list, changing there, coming back, and then changing it to a tuple. This thing also you can do if you want any unavoidable changes. If you have created a sequence in a tuple and you need a change, sure, then you can convert it into a mutable data structure, say a list, do all the updation there, and finally convert it back to a tuple so that it becomes immutable again. This is with respect to tuples, right? You know tuple data structure, how to create it, how to access it, how to do negative access, negative indexing, how to use range index here, how to find the length, that is number of elements in a list, how to count the number of occurrences of a given data item in a list, how to find index of an element in a list, how to convert a tuple into a list, and how to convert a list into a tuple. These things you saw in this hands-on session, and that's it with respect to the hands-on session on tuples. Hope you are well known with the list and the tuple data structure. With this, we can go with some good programmings with list and tuples in the upcoming sessions and assignments. Thank you.